Hey guys, quick disclaimer. The Nosy Hens podcast talks about content that is not suitable for children and might bring you some discomfort too. This includes violence and abuse of all kinds, strong language, and graphic descriptions. Listener discretion is advised.
Guys, guess what?
What?
Y'all in the chicken coop. Welcome to the chicken coop.
Ow, cluck cluck. So, today we're going to talk about the modern day Cinderella.
This sounds deliciously gross.
It is. Actually, you know what? It'll probably make you a little bit more on the angry side just because it really was senseless. There was no reason for a lot of the stuff that happened to happen. So modern day Cinderella, that makes you think about
Glass slipper.
Okay, and
ballroom. And a Prince Charming.
Okay,
evil
now
stepmother and sister.
Evil stepmother. There you go. Evil, truly evil stepmother. So
Let me tell you
this is the case of Emani Moss. Okay, so we have three characters in this story, and you know what? Emani Moss is not a character. I'm going to take that back. The two characters are the evil stepmother, Tiffany Nicole Moss, and the idiot. I can't put it in a better way. The idiot of a father, Emani Moss. So let's just dive right into it. Emani Gabrielle Moss was a beautiful, beautiful young girl. She was born on April 23, 2003. April 23rd, 2003.
Oh man, that was right before I graduated high school.
Really?
Yeah, like a month before.
Yeah. And she was born to Emani Moss and her birth mom. Now, I dug very deep, could not find the birth mom's name. And I think that's just because she didn't have anything really to do with this case. So they were probably trying to protect her.
Yeah.
But the birth mom was addicted to drugs. And so she ended up giving up parental custody of all her children due to the addiction. But Emani was the only child that she had with Emani Moss. So Emani took her on, and for all intents and purposes, he was a good dad. He was very close to Emani. They had a special bond, and he was doing the best that he can to be a father to her. So I think at around 2013, Imani's mom tried to get custody of Emani back, but she was denied because she off and on had that struggle with drugs.
Yeah.
And Emani didn't even really know her, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, Emani was doing well. She was either living with her grandma or with her father. So that's another thing about this case is while Emani was a child, which she died a child, unfortunately, but in her childhood, she did not have much stability. Even though, you know, her father was there and he tried his best, she didn't have much stability. They moved around and, you know, times were tough. So Emani was a beautiful, typical little girl who loved reading, dancing. She loved cooking, and she loved making up songs. Hey. So she was close with her father, like I said, and her father's mother, her grandmother, Robin Moss. And she often went to church with her grandmother. And she was just an all-around joy to know by everybody who knew her. She did well in school. She did great with ballet and her music classes. She was just a really good girl who did not deserve what we're about to talk about.
Jeez.
So when Emani was just about a year old, her father, Emani, attacked her birth mother.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is an this is actually the only instance that we have of him being a violent person.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. Did they find anything else about him being abusive?
Right,
towards the lady, or was it more so that he was just upset with her and lashed out?
And that could very well.
That's right, but
right. That could very well be it, because he pleaded guilty for that.
Mm-hmm.
He owned up to what he did, and he received probation for that. We don't know the circumstances surrounding it. Mm-hmm. So, but there's never an excuse for a man to hit a woman.
Right.
So.
Ever.
So we'll just say that. But this is interesting, and I brought it up because if you watch the trial of Tiffany Nicole Moss, which is the evil stepmother, you would think that Iman was the one who was prone to being abused. And I'm going to get into why. You're going to see why, but to me, Iman seems like a weak person.
Yeah.
He does not seem like a person who is trying to lay down the law and would attack a woman or anything like that. So that's just crazy to me. But when Emani was around 4, this is when Iman met Tiffany Nicole Brown, Brown, at Freedom Christian Church. And that was around 2007. And it was through a mutual friend. So for a while, they maintained a friendship, I would say about 2 years, until they got romantic. Tiffany did not have any kids, but she was a preschool teacher. And, you know, it was kind of like a wholesome kind of courtship. I mean, you meeting somebody at church and y'all take a long time to even go to that step. You would think that you have a really good foundation for a relationship. And Tiffany knew the whole time, you know, that he had a daughter, and she did not have any problems with that. So about 8 months into their relationship, after their 2-year friendship, Iman proposed to Tiffany, and then they married in July of 2009. And like I said, Tiffany was a preschool teacher, and Iman was a warehouse worker. Crazy thing I'm just going to put here is Iman was, this isn't crazy, but it is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Iman was a hard worker. And I would even say a workaholic. I'm just, I mean, can you see where I'm trying to trying to go? Yeah. You haven't heard this story, and I'm just trying to set it up for you. This is crazy. So he's a workaholic. Now, like I said, things weren't stable for Emani at all. They lived with a friend. Then they had their own house. They lost the house. They moved in with Iman's mother-in-law, Tiffany's mom. Then they moved out again to their own place. Then they moved back in with the mother-in-law. And then they moved back out into their own place. And whenever they lived with others, everybody saw that Emani was bright. She was doing well in school. And she was overall just a really healthy child. But in 2010, Iman was at work, and he was contacted by the police to come down to the station. He comes down to the station. He finds out that Tiffany had been accused of beating Emani and had been arrested.
What?
Yes. So this is the first instance of the abuse, or the first documented instance of the abuse that Emani received due to her evil stepmom.
So, okay, so they had been married for a year by this time.
Yes.
And then she started to show physical abuse, because my belief is she probably was verbally abusive to the little girl.
Absolutely.
Before she put her hands on her.
Absolutely. Probably doing a lot of things in silence, sneaky, you know.
Or probably like a pop or a slap, and going to justify it. Oh, she did this, so I had to pop her. And then the dad is like, okay, well, you're her mom.
You catching on quick, girl. You are catching on quick.
Oh, I just want to punch already.
Honestly. So Emani was beaten with a belt and she had multiple marks all over her body from being hit with the buckle part of the belt.
Are you okay?
Okay.
Got a question.
Yes.
Question. You said they met at what church?
It was like a Freedom Faith Church or something like that.
So it didn't say like
Freedom Christian Church.
Okay, so it is. So I wonder if it was like what the denomination was.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to get into the psychology behind things too, and that a lot of churches go by the spare the rod, spoil the child kind of
right
rhetoric or whatever you want to call it.
And sometimes that ride is literally a ride, and it's like
honestly.
Or do y'all know what that text actually meant?
Right. And
which I don't think a lot of people do, because that's why they quote it.
Yeah. So people always, we ain't gonna get into that, but people will take scripture and use it how they want to.
Sure will. Slap you upside the face with them like, because.
Right. Because in Lamentations,
right.
Yeah. So, around that time, Tiffany also, she went ahead and pleaded guilty, and she received probation, and she lost her job as the preschool teacher,
as rightfully
as
so.
well she should,
because that also makes me think another thing. Was she doing that to those kids? Because let me tell you, I'm a mom of 2 toddlers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm now. They be making me want to
yes, kids
go
will
throw
test
myself in traffic sometimes. Oh, Lord,
kids will test you. But that's no excuse. It's just not an excuse. And especially for her, when it was like, oh, I'm good with you having she probably was like doing everything she can in the beginning to like be like, I'm going to be such a good mom to your daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then turn around. Right.
Oh,
say that again.
The lies.
Okay. Oh. So, yeah, like I said, Tiffany pleaded guilty. She got probation, lost her job. And then Iman, this is another thing. This is why I said Iman was doing the best that he could, because he voluntarily took fatherhood classes. Mm-hmm. Whereas Tiffany, she had to take anger management classes and have in-home counseling in order for them to get Imani back. And of course, but Iman didn't have to do what he did. Right. He just chose to do that because he loved Imani. I will give him that.
And jealousy. Let me tell you. I've never experienced that before, where a woman has come in and married my father and exhibited signs of jealousy towards me and my siblings. But you see a lot of it in the news, on social media, in movies.
It happens a lot.
You see that all the time, where the stepmother comes in and they're jealous of the relationship that the father may have with their son or daughter.
Yes.
And because they never received that, and they're coming from a broken place that they are not willing to fix. Yeah. Then things like this happen.
Yeah. And like, you just said, not willing to fix. Mm-hmm. She had to get it fixed, and it didn't fix her. She had to. Like, that was part of her freaking restitution and, paying her debt for what she did.
And she needs to go deeper.
And it still didn't happen.
Yep, she needs to go deeper.
Yeah, she did. You're right. So when that happened, Imani was placed with Iman's mother for 6 months, and they were great. Imani was in a great place with her grandma. Mm-hmm. She wanted to stay. The grandma wanted her to stay, but Iman wouldn't allow that to happen. He said due to his pride. That was him. In my pride, I didn't want her to stay with my mom. It was just that kind of ticked me off.
Yes. Yeah. Because I feel like with men, they do things because of their pride.
Yes.
And a lot of the times their pride gets in the way of your intuition or even your common sense.
Yes.
Man, if your wife then put her hands on your child one time, or one time that you know of, What makes you think she's not going to do it again?
Especially if there were no, like, I mean, there were consequences like probation. Okay, fine. Anger management classes, fine. Counseling, fine. But she did not have any hard consequences for her actions. And she didn't even get any consequences from you for putting her hands on your daughter.
Right.
So, yeah. So he's like, in his pride, he just couldn't allow her to, he couldn't give up his daughter to be with his mom. So that's what happened. Yeah. So in 2011, Iman and Tiffany had a son together. And Tiffany became a stay-at-home mom, which she didn't have no choice because she had lost her job. Right?
Sorry, sis.
Right.
These kids aren't for ya.
So by then, she had one biological child and one stepchild. Now, I'm just saying that because there's often the dynamic of the stepchild
versus the biological. Yeah.
Right. So we got to make note of that. And that's when Iman began to notice. This is when Iman began to notice. Not before, not when she got arrested for beating his child, but this is when he began to notice that Tiffany and Imani didn't get along well when she had her biological child. Thinking that the beating incident was a fluke.
A fluke? Hold on. So she just accidentally fell, slapped herself up against the buckle of a belt.
I just had a moment. Yeah.
Girl, if you don't go to the nearest boxing class and punch that stuff out.
Let me just get this out the way. I'm just going to say that I do think that Iman, there is something off. Like, he does not have all his screws. I'm just saying. So, all right.
Or maybe he just don't have a lot of common sense. Because there are some people where it is like, are you intellectually disabled? Or are you just not using the common sense that the good Lord has given you?
All right. Well, people do say common sense ain't common.
It really ain't. And but Audacity apparently is for free because people be picking that stuff up and using it like perfume and deodorant. Okay.
Good night. I'm just okay. So we'll just say that he ain't got common sense. So, Tiffany then became pregnant with their daughter in 2012. So now we have 2 biological children and 1 stepdaughter.
And the second is a girl.
Yeah.
And oh God.
Yeah.
I'm already
you
up
tracking
what you putting down.
You tracking.
I'm about ready to punch. Insert Cuba Gooding Jr. air punch.
Oh my gosh. So then this is where the workaholic part comes in. Iman picks up 2 jobs. So he's working at a warehouse and he's also a forklift driver. Now this is his schedule because this is beyond me. So he works Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and then from 6 p.m. to about 1 a.m.
Nope.
And gotta get up again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and do that. On the weekends,
yeah.
You think he gonna catch up on some rest, but no.
No, because he got honeydew list.
Yeah. Guess what? He will let Tiffany get a break from the kids on the weekends. And so he would, take care and do the full-time care for the kids on the weekend.
I mean, that's good.
It's nice of him to, right.
Yeah, it's considerate. But you also have to think, even though you're a parent, you still sometimes you have to rest because if you're not well rested, you gonna start wearing and tearing on your body.
Right.
And how can you be there for your children if you're so tired?
Right. If you're not there for yourself.
So that's
self-care tip. If you're not there for yourself, you cannot be there for others.
Okay. What do they say on the airplane? Help yourself before you help other people.
That's right.
Because if I'm going to die trying to help you, then how's that going to work? How's that going? No, ma'am.
We both in trouble.
Okay. Oops.
Yeah. So he was giving her a break on the weekends. And also while at work, Tiffany would call Iman to say things that Emani did. She would call him and be like, Emani was smearing fecal matter on the walls, and Emani was putting fecal matter in her oatmeal.
What? But at this time, she's what?
She wasn't
at 10?
Yeah.
Maybe, or close to 10?
Yeah.
So if she's never done that before, even as a toddler, why would you?
Girl. Yeah. Okay. And she was also saying, Imani was attempting to run away from home. Now, that part,
I believe that.
Right. She could have been attempting to run away from home because look how you doing her.
Right.
So
but coming up with these stupid excuses, because what that means is she did this, so I had to beat her because she did this.
Right.
That's an excuse. No, she probably just clinked the dang on spoon on the bowl too hard.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. And guess what? In trial, when Iman was asked, like, did he see any evidence of what Tiffany was saying? Like, when he come home, did he smell any leftover fecal matter, or did he even smell like bleach of trying to? Right. He said he never saw the evidence, and he never did anything about it either. So that's another tick.
Oh my God.
Against Iman. So he didn't seek any help. He didn't, he never saw anything. No, we don't believe it. We believe that she probably did try to run away, but the other stuff, no. So also the prosecutor asked Iman if he, took Imani to the doctor. Like, if your wife is constantly calling you, telling you that she's doing these out of the normal things, are you even trying to get her any kind of help? And this is what he said, and I'm fixing a quote because
not fixing her. Come on, auntie.
He said, I did one time, but I didn't keep the appointment. Nigga, so you didn't. So you didn't.
So it didn't happen. So you made an appointment, but there was no success in actually going.
Right.
Why didn't you keep the appointment?
He has no good reason.
Of course he
right
doesn't.
now.
Of course, probably because that wife was like, she don't need to go to no doctor. Well, bitch, you done said she's smearing poop all on the wall.
On the real. So he didn't do anything for her.
Excuse my
he
language.
didn't. Me too. But don't say you did and you didn't.
And you didn't. Oh, it makes me so mad so hard.
Okay. So now when Iman is home on the weekends and he's giving Tiffany a break, he did say that he noticed that Imani would overeat. She would gorge herself. She would eat excessively. Like she's trying to get everything that she can.
So the lady was starving her? Because that's what that is.
Yeah.
She was getting starved?
Because at the same time, she's losing weight. At the same time, she is losing weight. She is lethargic. And all she can do is sleep and try and get as much food as she can.
And you know what? Because she was basically, it sounds like she was a prisoner, because you haven't mentioned anything about her doing visits to her grandmother.
Nope.
Like it seems like she was isolated.
Yes.
And she couldn't tell anyone. If you're isolated, you have no access to a phone. You have no access to the outside world except, and then the girl is, the wife. So Tom, what's the name I'm gonna give her? Cause
she don't deserve
toenails.
It. Right.
She out here manipulating this man that she he is mentally exhausted, and it's just like I'm just coming in and I'm just trying to do what I can do. He's not noticing things.
Yeah.
Because he's so occupied with making sure that food is on the table.
Yes.
And see, that's what I know. Excuse me. We live in a society where, when it's a lot of marriages and a lot of homes are one income homes.
Yeah.
And it's usually the husband that's doing the working. And so he's doing his best that, he possibly can to make sure that he's providing for his family. One, because it seems like throughout the years earlier on in the story, his pride.
Yes.
He has to go live with his mother-in-law. He had to stay with his mom. He had to, get help or whatever. But that's why they say it takes a village to raise a child. You can't do all of this stuff on your own.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that now we live in a society where the help is not as helpful because people got their own issues.
Right.
And they're trying to address those issues, and they can't really be there to help you as you need. So the villages aren't villaging the way that they could village.
Yeah.
So he has no village. His daughter is isolated. He has no one to be like, hey, I think something going on with Emani, because the wife has basically isolated her, and he's trusting his wife because he's like, well, that's my wife, she ain't gonna do nothing to my daughter, which is are you sir reel it in, because she did do it to your daughter before. You can't trust her.
Right.
You can't trust her. I don't even know why he still stayed with her, but sometimes, I don't know, people do what they gotta do.
I like how you explained it as mentally exhausted. Now that, okay, I will go ahead and give him that instead of just saying maybe he's mentally challenged. I'm going to go ahead and take that.
Yeah.
He was exhausted.
Yeah, because mental fog.
If you're not getting enough sleep, that will affect you so badly.
You start going on autopilot, and you're doing things like just in your normal routine and probably don't even realize that you're doing things in your normal routine. Even down to Tiffany gets the weekends off, I'm taking care of these kids. It was probably just a normal routine.
Yes.
That you're noticing things, but you're so tired.
Yes.
Mentally and physically, probably spiritually as well.
Yes.
That you're not seeing, you're not able to observe and be aware of your environment.
Right.
And also, especially because you working 9 to 5, 5 to 9.
Right. Don't get me started on that. As much as I love my sleep, I just can't.
Ooh, Jesus.
Yeah. One time I tried to have a second job, and
no, ma'am.
It lasted all of 1 month because
I did the multiple job thing when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And that was exhausting. Okay.
It's just,
that was exhausting.
If the economy wasn't the way it was, then maybe people wouldn't have to have like 2 and 3 different jobs.
Let me told you.
Yeah. I digress.
Yeah.
But okay, so Emani was isolated, but there was this one occasion on Mother's Day of 2013 where she did get to go see her grandma. And the first thing that her grandma noticed is that Imani's hair was cut. Now, if you've seen a picture of Emani, she had long, beautiful, coily hair. She was just such a pretty little girl. And so everybody's like, hold up, why is your hair cut? So when Iman asked Tiffany why Imani's hair was cut, Tiffany told him that Emani did it in one of her, acting out situations. Okay, but guess what? When Imani's grandma and her aunt asked Tiffany why her hair was cut, Tiffany told them that she did it, and she was like, well, when you act ugly, you need to look ugly too. That's that jealousy. Don't you jealous me.
Hey.
That's that jealousy.
Hey.
And let me tell you something. That is jealousy, because if you look at Tiffany Nicole Moss, ... That's all I'm going to say. She was jealous. She was jealous of how beautiful a girl Emani was. She was jealous of the close relationship that she had with her father. She was just jealous. And I think so because there's no evidence of where freaking Tiffany's father was. So, she had plenty of reason to be jealous.
Oh my God.
So she's talking about some act ugly, look ugly.
Oh my God.
But you really projecting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was just another instance of abuse. And here's another instance of abuse. One day Tiffany called Iman at work and said, and said that Emani was cooking and she burned herself with some hot water. And Iman was like, well, what was she cooking? And Tiffany doesn't have any answer.
Of course.
She just burned herself with some hot water. I don't know, So when he gets home and sees Imani's just like scalded on the front of her body. Her body is just like burned badly. It was burned badly.
So this woman boiled a pot of water and poured it on her.
That's what I feel. There's no,
Because who lets a 10-year-old, especially now,
right?
Because when I was 10, I was cooking full meals, but who lets a 10-year-old go cook unsupervised?
Especially, and okay, let me ask you this. How she cooking and she losing weight? So how she cooking, you letting her cook her own meals, you letting her eat, or she losing weight? It can't be both.
Right.
It can't be both. So stop the lies.
It's the every time the girl doesn't, like, she's like she's trying to cover her tracks, but she knows that her husband
is gonna believe
so
her,
detached, and unaware that he's gonna kind of like, I guess, go with what she says.
Right. And that's exactly what he did. He just
went with what she said.
Yes.
Like, I mean, you can't always you can't. At some point, your spouse, you can't always agree with your spouse, especially when you know, like, hey, it's too many incidences of this happening with just my daughter. Because if that's the case, why isn't your child
right?
Why haven't they had marks on them?
Exactly. Come on.
But my child from a previous relationship is coming up hurt and scalded and marks and things like that.
And she doing this. She a demon child and all of this and all that. Yeah. Honestly, I know. And so, also, and you might be wondering in the middle of all this, who else is seeing anything? Well, not school, because of course she was taken out of school to be homeschooled.
Of course. Just tell me another reason.
Right.
Just tell me, okay? I just want to know all of the ways.
Right.
That it was like hidden.
Yeah. And that's it.
Is you know what? A lot of these stories, especially stories like this when it comes to child abuse. Yeah. Once the abuse starts to escalate more, then you start hearing stories about, or parts of the story where, the child was taken out of school. Right. Yeah, because their scars have to be covered.
Exactly. Now let me ask you this. This is an idea. And I know, like, the CPS people, they are bombarded and things like that. But I feel like there should be a law where if you do decide to homeschool your kids, that it should be like mandatory periodic
check-ins
on the kids.
Because I know that a lot of these homeschool programs, you connect the program with I guess a school that's in your area or a local school. But I do agree, someone needs to come in, not necessarily a social worker, but maybe a teacher, just to come in and check, like do a one-on-one or like not testing, but just kind of see an like evaluation. Okay, is the child an evaluation. Girl, look, come on, fancy words. Yes, an evaluation to just make sure, like, okay, I see that the child is doing well online, but are they actually doing well? Like, I think because people that are in services, like, they are obligated to report child endangerment. Exactly. But you can't report child endangerment if you never go and see the child.
Yeah. So I think that should be a law, that there should be some kind of periodic evaluation of children who are being homeschooled. I just really feel like that should be mandatory because of instances like this. So we're about to continue. It's getting worse. It's going to get worse. So on October 24th, 2013, I was about to say October 24th is my birthday, but you guys can't know that. Yes, you can. It's my birthday if you want to cash app me, but I ain't going to tell you my cash app. I'm trying to remain anonymous, y'all. I just like being known as a hen, but see, A-Rain, she trying to get me to not be anonymous, but we just gone. Okay. So Iman came home from work early. Now, this is something that he rarely does because he was having some car trouble. And when he came home from work, he found Emani in the bathtub, and she was shaking as if she is having seizures. She was unable to speak, and her eyes were just rolling in different directions uncontrollably.
So this lady hit her in the head, or smashed her head up against something.
Something happened. I don't know what, but something happened to where, she had to have some kind of brain damage that would cause her to go into convulsions, and she just could not function.
So where was Susan in this?
Now who?
Stepmom.
I'm like, who is Susan?
I'm good. Hey guys, just a disclaimer. Sometimes I rename people. A lot of the times I rename people, and so if you hear me saying a different name of these people, it's just,
they don't deserve the respect of keeping their name kind of intact. No, I do it just because I'm telling the story, but
you gonna get afraid out of me, okay?
Okay.
Shoot.
Now, okay, so where is Susan? Good question. Iman does want to take Emani to the hospital. He wants to call 911. Tiffany tells him not to do it because Emani was thin and they would get into trouble and have the rest of the children taken away. And Tiffany was also on probation at the time, and she didn't want to go to jail.
I want to punch her in her nose.
She gave all of those excuses to Iman, and he just went with it. So what he does instead is he takes his daughter out of the tub. He lays her on the mattress in her bedroom. She had her own room at the time. He lays her on the mattress in her room. And it was at that time that Emani, she never talked again. She did not gain normal function back. This is where we're going into the disintegration of her being. Yeah, so
she survived. She survived that.
She did survive it, but she didn't come out well. So in the following days, Iman tries to resuscitate her, I guess, or, try to bring some recovery to her body by feeding her Enfamil through a straw, because she could not do anything. She couldn't feed herself. She couldn't move. She couldn't do anything. So he's trying to make her gain weight by feeding her Enfamil.
Okay, I can see why. I could see why there is an idea that he may be not all there, because let me tell you something. If I see my child shaking and eyes rolling in the back of her head in a tub, I don't care who's on probation.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care, because if you're innocent and you didn't do anything, you should, because if you're innocent, you shouldn't have to worry about anything. Sus. You shouldn't have to worry about nothing. So I'm going to push your ass out the way, and I'm taking my child to the nearest emergency room because something is wrong.
Right. And that is why, that I'm like, is he all there? I mean, so you just think that, even though you have no medical experience whatsoever.
You trying to feed her Enfamil? Enfamil!
When your daughter is unable to walk, She's incontinent.
And she was doing that when you, I mean, granted, she was thin, but you ain't think to be like, hey, let me take her somewhere because you so busy working.
Right. Unable to talk. She couldn't function. She's using the bathroom on herself in her bedroom, and he still would not take her to the doctor at Tiffany's request.
No, ma'am. Tiffany, if you want to divorce me after this, goodbye. Because he should have divorced her years before when she got in trouble about beating the little girl.
My theory is that he just wanted to find a mother for his child.
Yeah.
And then he had more kids with her. So he definitely is not going to take care of 3 children by himself.
Right.
So I just feel like he just kept her around because
but then he had his mom. His mother said, she can stay here with me. I'll help you.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not the grandparents' responsibility to take care of the child. But if you're struggling and you have that support system
and you
utilize
see she's in a good place,
why do you want to put her life back in danger? To save face?
To save face. That's it. That's all. To save face.
To make it seem like you're one big happy family when your stupid ass wife then went to jail because she beat her with the buckle of a belt?
Girl.
You're trying to save face from that.
Y'all.
Nigga, you look stupid.
Y'all.
You look stupid. You really do. You're not saving anybody's face.
At all.
No one's face is being saved.
No.
Because in the end, your intuition did not kick in that this lady is doing something to my... Like the common sense, the intuition, the ancestors, God, no one like kicked your ass in the head and said, hey.
Girl. Now let me look, let me keep going. Because you are saying so much. Are saying so much that actually is like... Have you heard this story before?
No, but it seems like there are movies that have this same because there are people that are just sick individuals.
History repeats itself.
It does.
The world has
especially
patterns.
If you are a foreigner coming into an already situated situation. A father and a daughter that have a great relationship and you like, nah, that's not gonna work at my house. I'm the woman now. If you don't get your raggedy ass on,
girl.
And it's unfortunate because her 2 kids, if they witness this, they could look at their mom like, dang, mommy is messed up. Mm-hmm. Or, dang, I'm gonna grow up and be just like my mama and beat on my kids.
Girl, stop telling my story.
Oh,
because
I'm sorry.
You
Look, I'm getting
really
mad.
You are saying some good stuff. Like there's some things that you just said that are about to come up too.
Girl, Daniel Tiger taught me to say I'm mad.
All right. Okay, with your two young kids, it
helps to say I'm mad.
Lord have mercy. I'm mad too. Listen now. On Tuesday, the 29th of October 2013, Tiffany calls Emani where?
Of course.
At work.
Because she's a tattletale on no one but herself, dummy.
She tells him that Emani has passed away.
Yeah, because she probably put a pillow over her face.
Saying, quote, she's gone. And she weighed just 32 pounds.
I bet. First off, this ain't even first off. This is 100th off. Why was he still going to work? There's something called FMLA that you could have taken to be at home to care for your deteriorating child that you have no idea, quote unquote, how she got that way because your tattletale wife who's tattletaling on herself. His wife, Tiffany, basically told him, hey, I beat your daughter to death.
Yeah, beat and starved her to death.
I didn't feed her and I beat her because she, this is a lie.
He just never questioned his wife.
Oh my God. Do you know the questions?
He never questioned his wife. And that's why it was such a surprise to me that he had a history that he beat on somebody else, because like I said, there's no excuse to ever hit a woman, but here's a good excuse to hit a woman.
Okay. Up and down the street. Do you know the slaps?
And you don't do it.
You don't do anything. You mad at the lady that's doing drugs, which that can put your child in danger too. But you mad at this lady doing drugs probably. She was probably doing drugs around the baby. You mad at her and you shooketh her up. But this woman your child has never put poop on the wall.
Yeah.
And here you go. Oh man, she put poop on the wall. That just sounds real unlike her. But let me go ahead and go back to work.
Yeah.
Because I got to pay for the house.
Yes.
So, no, ma'am.
So, yeah. So, listen. So, she's gone. Emani weighs 32 pounds at the time of death.
And she's 10 years old. So, she should have been probably about 80.
Yeah, because, I have a niece that's 10 years old and she's healthy.
Yeah.
She's all healthy. Well, I was going to say this is where I get pissed, but we've been pissed this whole time.
I am.
But listen now. So, Iman said that when he's notified of his daughter's passing, he didn't leave work.
All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and head out. All right. Look. Drops mic. All right. Yeah. Son. Are you kidding? Okay. All right. Okay.
He didn't. He didn't leave work, saying that his employer wouldn't let him get a half a day.
Yep.
So now do you see why I said that in the beginning? I think that he's mentally challenged.
It's either that he's mentally challenged or he was in on it.
You better say it. Now, that's a theory now.
Jumping jacks on.
That's a theory. That's a theory. And that is such a sad theory because people stated that they were so close before Tiffany came along.
Of course. All right. Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Let me keep going. Yep. And then it's like, okay, your employer. So he clearly didn't tell the employer why he needed to leave. Because there's no employer in the world who would not allow an employee to leave if they have a death in the family. That's just not even. Is that even legal? Like, you come to me
no,
and
here's the thing. I'm leaving. Right. You won't let me go. Oh, well, I guess that sucks for you because who?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You?
That's what I'm saying. If it is
Goodbye.
Legal and you allow them to keep you from getting to your family member who passed away, then you either have no soul or you're just plain stupid. It's just one or the other. You're either stupid or you don't have a soul.
I know sometimes when people are in shock, they do strange things.
Okay, thank you for being, objective, because I'm not.
I know when people are in shock, they do things. They react to things in a way that, it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
Because that's shocking. That is shocking to hear.
It is shocking.
But then, too...
But how shocking is it when you had just got through getting your child out of the tub from having seizures and she's not functioning anymore? How shocking is it?
It is not. And like I would have, goodbye job. Make sure if this is the day that you're going to fire me, all right, just make sure I got my check in the mail for this past jobs that I did for these last few weeks. Goodbye. Ain't no explaining to nothing. And it just sounds like a lie. That sounds like a lie. My employer would not let me leave, even though I told him that my child is dead.
Well, we don't know. We don't know that he told him. We don't know that he told the employer. We don't know.
He probably went up. Look, let me play. Let me get my, come on, imagination. Tap, 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 tap. So he when that girl that liked to call and tell on herself and cover it up with lies, that girl Sam probably called and was like, she's dead, she's gone. And he probably was like, she probably lying, but let me go see what's going on or whatever. Boss, I gotta go. It's an emergency. Oh, you said I can't go? Oh, man, well, I really need the job. No, nigga, if the job is not that dang on important, if you don't get your black ass out this goddamn place and go...
Please stop killing me. Please.
It just boggles my mind because I
don't think he was that smart to think that she was lying, though. I don't think so.
But that's why I said if all of this didn't happen, you gotta be in on it, nigga. I'm just saying. She done beat her. She done burned her. She done starved her. She done cracked her upside the head, and you trying to syringe feed her some dang on Enfamil. You were in on it. You were in on it. You had to. You had to be. Gotta be. It gotta be. You were in on it. You had to be in on it because what makes you totally dismiss and stay your ass at work when your stupid ass wife just called and said she's dead and I just feel so bad that she's dead and I just couldn't revive her and I don't even know how she got this way, but... And you stayed at home? You stayed at home.
No, he stayed at work.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Y'all knew what I meant.
Please, let me keep going. Because you're sending me. You're sending me. So...
Oh, man. Oh, Lord. Can I take any more?
You going to have to take a little bit more. So he gets off work at his normal time.
Of course, yeah.
He goes into the house. Yep. He passes Tiffany watching TV.
Of course, yeah, because it didn't matter to her.
And he goes into Emani's room and he mourns her. He does recognize that she is passed away. She's on a blanket on the floor. And so during the time in which he would, normally he would just go home and take a nap before his second job, he just goes in there and he mourns his daughter. So when he comes out of the room, he talks to Tiffany. He wants to call 911. But again, instead, they begin to discuss plans to conceal Emani's death. And they brainstorm, making it look like she ran away. And, that they'd get away with it because she'd attempted to run away before. And Tiffany... This is a quote too. Tiffany, who liked to watch crime dramas, literally said to Iman, "We have to be on our criminal mind about this. We have to be on our criminal mind about your daughter that I just killed."
You know what? It's crazy that she says criminal minds and not forensic CSI. Because criminal minds are the ones that do the whole breakdown of the mental and why people are happening and or becoming psychopaths. And they get to the root of, well, he did this because of this, and maybe he's feeling this way. He's starting to escalate. He's doing this. So that's crazy that she said we have to be on our criminal minds because, bitch, you are a criminal mind. You're a real life story. You're a real life story. Okay, so that means that this could have been a whole thing that she thought about. Oh, once I get in, it's over for you, little girl. That could have been her whole mindset. She is sick. This Tiffany girl, now I call her Tiffany, even though that's her government name. What's her name? Wood Chips. This Wood Chips girl sitting up here contemplating all of this stuff, and then you don't go with, you are in on it, sir. You did this. You helped her.
Please stop, please.
You helped her. You have to have known.
Please.
Okay, I'm so upset. I'm upset. Okay.
You are really, you killing me, okay? You're killing me, Smalls. All right. So the prosecutor, is like, okay, but why did you go along with this? I mean, that's the question that everybody wants to know. Iman responds that he was trying to save his wife since he couldn't save his daughter.
I am going to throw myself up against the wall.
He was...
I gotta save my wife because I was in on it the whole time. Actually, I was in it the whole time. And I actually, I am so mad. I am so, you.
Stop. I can't. Yeah, she is really, seriously, she's flipping out. I understand it. I was like this when I was watching the trial. I ain't even gonna lie.
I wanted to save my wife.
Since I couldn't save my daughter.
Save my daughter because I was just totally detached from the entire world.
Yeah. I
have to save her.
And in addition, he didn't want to lose his other kids.
No, they gotta go. I'm sorry. They have to go.
So
because you can't protect them because you didn't protect this one from her.
Exactly.
You couldn't notice the signs that she was doing this to your daughter because me and my wife, we won because as Christians we can't ever divorce.
I am just beyond.
I wanted to save my wife. I'm still on that.
He said, I wanted
to save my wife. I'm about to be driving home honking at people. He wanted to save his wife!
My gosh, stop it. You're just too funny. Please, let me finish the story.
I'm ready for a nap after this.
Honestly,
I didn't drink
she done went through all the emotions, y'all. She done went through them all. Okay?
Man.
So... what I say, in addition to not wanting to lose his children, and they go ahead and decide that they are going to hide the body. They decide this. And then he goes to his second job.
I just can't. I can't take it anymore. I'm do that. Yeah. It hurts me on the inside parts. Let me tell you something. I wonder if his mama was at home like, I must not have been on my P's and Q's because he is making
something happened.
Stupid.
Did he have a head injury or what?
What, did you drop him?
Because something,
Mama?
He does not have a full deck of cards. He just doesn't.
I had to go. I wonder. So if he wasn't in on it, did she threaten him?
That's what I'm saying.
Was Tiffany abusing him?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I feel like. How was he arrested for beating somebody up when this is the kind of person that he is right here? Like, it just doesn't, the math doesn't math. It doesn't make sense.
She was beating him. No.
That's what I feel.
She was hurting him too.
She was doing something.
She was threatening him with taking away his children.
She was doing something.
She has been doing something. Because how, oh my God, I can't. It's so much.
He goes to his second job. When he comes home around 1 a.m, whatever, Emani was in the same spot that he'd left her.
Of course.
On the floor, on that blanket. And everybody else in the house is sleeping like babies, including Tiffany. Okay?
Oh my God. How can you?
But this is my thing, like, Iman, so, Tiffany's asleep, the other 2 kids are asleep. Iman goes and he sleeps in Imani's room next to Emani. Like, he said he's seriously mourning her. And so he tries to sleep next to Emani. He gets up and goes to work again. Do you see what I'm saying about the workaholic thing? Like,
oh my God, like, is he you gotta be under some kind of mind control.
Yeah, he gets up.
Do your everyday life when you just slept next to your dead daughter, who it sounds like has been dead for about a day and a half. Yeah. So 24 hours plus. I'm pretty sure she's probably got a smell to her. Of course, she's stiff.
Yep. Oh, girl, you just telling the girl, stop now, stop. This is my story.
It's so hard.
So he wakes up. He wraps Emani in the blanket, and he moves her body into the computer room, which I'm not sure why he does that. But then he goes to work again. After work, at his second job, he goes to Walmart and he purchases a large garbage can, tin can, and some lawn bags and some charcoal. And his idea is that he's going to cremate Imani's body. And this is his idea because Tiffany's just saying we need to just go and bury her somewhere. But he's like, no, he doesn't want to bury her body. He wants to cremate her. So that night after work, he brings the trash bags into the house and then he goes to sleep. And he said that he's stalling. Like, Imani's like, or not Emani, Tiffany's like, we got to get rid of the body. He's letting 2 days pass.
That is the first one, a biohazard. You have other children in your house.
Yeah.
That can see, and I'm pretty sure smell.
Yeah.
That is a biohazard.
Yeah. So he gets those supplies, then he goes to sleep on October 31st, 2013. So she passed on the 29th. 29, 30, 31. All right. He gets up, and what does he do? He goes to work.
It's the job for me. What is this company must have been paying him like $150,000 a day.
I mean,
for him to be getting his ass up and going to work.
Faithfully, dude.
Nah.
So he goes to work in the morning. That's his first job. In the evening, Tiffany takes the living children trick-or-treating, and he goes to his second job. And like I said, he admitted to stalling to get rid of the body. Tiffany was pushing him because more than likely, like we said, the body is beginning to decompose and smell.
And it's not going to be just the people in the house that smell it.
Right.
People are going to start smelling it outside of the house. And I don't know if they lived in a 2-story, 5-bedroom house, or if they lived in a small little 2-bedroom house. I don't know.
Right.
But people are going to start to smell it.
Right. So on November 1st, he finally decides, okay, you're right, I got to dispose of Imani's body. But not before I go to work. Not before I go to work, though. Okay?
Oh, my God.
So, for whatever reason, Tiffany helps Iman move Emani from the computer room back into her own bedroom, which, like I said, I'm not sure why he moved her into the computer room. Maybe he just needed more room for him to be able to lay by her. I don't know, but they move her back into her bedroom. He goes to work.
Oh my God. Stop going to work, sir.
Right. He goes to work. So he comes back. He unwraps Emani from the blanket that she was in. And because rigor mortis had set in, he uses duct tape to hold her body in the position that they'd folded it. So they had manipulated Imani's body to be able to get into, be able to fit into a large tin garbage can. Then they duct taped her body to stay into place. And he testified to her body, quote, cracking as they positioned her body and stuffed her into a lawn bag, his own daughter. Iman then tied up the bag. Tiffany gathers the blanket that she had been laying on, and he said that she cleaned the mattress that, you know, she had been incontinent and dying on. They placed whatever evidence into another lawn bag, and then they stuff it all into the back of their Trailblazer. Can it get worse?
Of course it can.
Yes,
it's been
thank
getting
you.
worse every
like
3 seconds.
you think you're at the peak, but you're not. So Tiffany and the kids,
oh my God,
accompany Iman on the trip to find a place to get rid of Imani's body. They are driving around.
Where was this at again? Was this what state did it say?
Georgia.
Oh my God.
So they're driving around, and Iman is still stalling. Like, he's going back and forth in his head. Like, are we really going to do this, or am I going to call the police? Are we really going to do this, or am I going to call the police? But he ends up at Bethesda Park, and he said that he was too far gone. They were all too far gone to call the police. So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're very, very far gone, nigga. You was far gone 5 days ago.
Okay.
You was far gone when
at the initial beating.
What she said.
At the initial beating. So, after parking, Iman and Tiffany exit the car, and they unload Imani and get out the tools from the trunk, the Trailblazer. They leave the kids in the car. They go deeper into the park, and they fill the large tin trash can with charcoal. They stuff Imani's body into the tin can. Imani's body was head up. That's the least. That's the least they can do. Like, I don't know.
I just wonder, like, how old were the other children at this time? Because
well, they were. Okay, so Imani was 10. They were pretty young. They were, 6?
Probably like
6 and 4.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So, okay, so he takes a piece of charcoal, which they had, like I said, they put her in the tin can. They had to force her body to be in there to fit. He takes lighter fluid, pours it over Imani, pours it over the coals in there. He takes one piece of coal, he lights it on fire, and he drops it into the tin can, with his daughter's body igniting a large flame.
Yeah, gases.
But this the thing. Tiffany and Iman talking about something they can't watch. They can't watch her be on fire.
But you didn't just bent her up like she's a dang on flexi ride.
Honest, give me a break. Like, give me a break.
You can't watch.
They can't watch.
You can't watch, but you did that to her. You can't watch, but you laid down next to her.
Right.
And continued to get up and go to work. Both of your jobs for a couple days. You can't watch, but you went and laid in your room and slept like a baby while she was dead in the other room. You can't watch, but you were downstairs in the living room watching TV, just going on about your daily life. Yeah, girl, on the phone. Yeah, girl, nah, because these kids, Nah, what you think about going to the mall tomorrow? You can't watch, but you did. You can't watch, but you duct taped her body into the position so that it could easily be stuffed into a tin can. You can't watch, but you subjected your 2 children, small children, toddlers, to ride in the back seat of the car when a dead body was in the back trunk.
Let's tell the truth. Tell it.
You can't watch, but you carried her dead corpse to the can, stuffed it down in there. You can't watch, but you can't watch if you don't. Matter of fact, stick your head in the fire.
Okay. Honestly,
go ahead and just do a headstand and pop on the headstand inside that fire with her, and go ahead and don't watch it like that.
Honestly, that just blew me away when he said that. So they kind of turn their back, and they're just, they're still there, but they're just letting it burn for a few minutes to see, you know, if that's going to cremate her.
And Tiffany probably had no remorse. The dad, even though he shouldn't have did, I'm pretty sure he's been mourning, but then also this is probably the first time in years that he's been present.
Oof. And I oop. Girl. So Emani burns for about 5 minutes before Iman puts out the fire by putting the top on the can. And it's not because he couldn't stand to see what they had done to his daughter, but it was just because he is not a freaking scientist and didn't know that you need 1,500 degree heat in order to cremate a body. And freaking you do a little bonfire, and that's the highest that's gonna get is about 600 degrees. So having failed, they take Emani in the can back to the car where the kids were waiting alone. And
it's just the psychological things that are good.
And they put Emani back into the trunk. This is late in the night to the early morning, so you already know what happens. Iman takes the kids and Tiffany home, and he goes to work.
So the body is just still in the car?
The body is still in the car.
First off, if you fired up a tin can, why would you pick up a hot tin can and then put it in your car? They let it cool off?
They got freaking t-shirts and stuff and grabbed the can. And
this is like the twists and turns of this case. It shows the inhumane side of humans. Yeah. It shows how through trauma and not healing or facing those traumas, it shows how people can transform into this other thing. Even though you have a human body, your mentals. Yeah. Because to do something like this, to abuse a child, to abuse anyone, child, adult, to attack someone so viciously, and not feel any sense of remorse, that's you got something going on, that's psychotic,
exactly. So let's just keep it going. We coming to the end now. He goes through the entire shift, and his daughter is just in the parking lot in the trunk.
He rode to work with her in the...
Yes, he never took her out. He
rode to work. Yeah. With his daughter's...
So she's in the trunk. Corpse. Yeah, he works a full shift. She's in the trunk. He goes home. Tiffany's being normal, watching TV.
Of course.
And he gets ready for his second job, and he goes to his second job. Imani's in the trunk. So finally, Iman calls one of his cousins and asks them to meet him at a gas station. He can't hold it in any longer. He tells his cousin what happened.
At this point, she done been dead,
she about a skeleton by now. Like, seriously, not even joking. Like, you had this darn kid just decomposing for days, going, just being taken around the world, everywhere but darn to the hospital, everywhere but to the morgue, everywhere but to
the police station,
everywhere. Okay, so
oh my God.
So he calls his cousin meets him at the Quick Trip. He tell him what he did. Cousin like, get me out this car.
Okay.
Take your dumb ass to the police and let them know what happened. That's what his cousin tells him to do. So Iman, not being his own man, listens to his cousin. And he goes home and he tells Tiffany, you know what? I can't do this anymore. We fixing to call the police. So that's what he do. Now, he tells Tiffany, I'm fixing to call the police. Tiffany don't respond. You know what she does? She packs up herself
and her kids
and runs to her mother's house. Right? Why'd you run to your mom's house? The police gonna find you there, which they did. And they arrest her for the murder of her stepdaughter, Emani Gabrielle Moss. Now, Iman, he goes to trial before Tiffany. He pleads guilty and he gets sentenced to life without parole in 2015. Now, Tiffany, she decides, this is what blew me too. She decides that she wants to go to trial. So she pleads not guilty and she represents herself. So she doesn't even take a lawyer. She represents herself. But get this, in the trial, now I watched the whole trial. In the trial, she is pretty much silent the whole time. She doesn't do an opening statement. She doesn't examine any witnesses. She doesn't cross-examine any witnesses. She never objects to anything. She just sits there the whole time, wasting taxpayers' money, wasting government resources.
Oh my God.
She just sits there. And she even had, like, I guess if you choose to represent yourself, I guess it's a requirement that you have to have legal aid still, like, behind you or something in case you have any questions. She never utilized them. And the legal aid. So what did she
do? Just sit there?
She just sat there. She never said a word except for when the darn judge was like, do you have any objections? No objection. And she had plenty of times to object. The prosecution was leading witnesses. She wouldn't object to that, which, I don't care. Don't object because you need to go to jail.
Right.
You need to go to jail. But she had opportunity to actually maybe freaking, I don't know, but she could have put up some kind of a fight. But my thing is, why would you even take it to trial if that's what you're gonna do?
Right. If you're gonna just sit there, you're not representing yourself.
Just wanted to go out wasting people's money and time. That's it. That's all.
It sounds like she was a narcissist.
Yeah. So
because she thought, oh, I'm gonna represent myself, but you ain't representing yourself.
She is just watching the entire time. Like, they're asking questions. She just watching. We're admitting this into evidence. No objection. It's just weird. It's just weird.
I mean, is she mentally
something
challenged?
So there was a jury of 6 men, 6 women. Of course, they convicted Tiffany on all counts against her, which were malice murder.
Yep.
2 counts of felony murder.
Say that.
3 counts of first-degree cruelty to children.
So hard.
And the 3 counts, I'm thinking that's probably for Emani, her other child, and the other child. 3 counts. And also to subjecting her 2 biological children to what she did, concealing the death of another. Like, so many charges, and she got convicted on all of them. And in May of 2019, she was sentenced to death, but she is currently still incarcerated because she has gone through appeals. And when you appeal,
what are you appealing, girl? If you sat in trial looking like a stupid,
when you appeal,
how are you appealing anything?
I don't even know why the appeal was even
heard,
granted, or whatever. Like,
what are you appealing, girl? You did it.
But y'all, she is at Arendelle State Prison. Tiffany Nicole Moss.
That's deep. Yeah.
And she's Georgia's only female death row inmate. But
so this happened in 2013, and I know that the legal system doesn't work as fast as we would like for it to.
It takes way too long.
But it's 2019, and girl,
and she's still breathing. And Emani Gabrielle Moss is not, Lord.
She would have been 20 years old.
Wow.
In the next year.
God bless her. Rest
and
her soul.
her her daddy's wife.
And they're still married.
Why?
First
off, you in prison. You married to Bubba now. Sir.
Sir.
You have no wife. You have a
Excuse
husband
me,
now.
sir.
You have multiple husbands now with life. So you have no room for a wife. I don't understand why y'all still married. Secondly, why? And you better not be writing her any kind of letter.
Ain't no way. I don't think they could even allow that.
They better not. You better forget her.
Unless they're sending kites. Yes, I know about prison lingo.
Oh my God.
Don't ask me how I know.
but you didn't win. So this first off, this case is just,
it was heartbreaking. It's beyond.
It's heartbreaking. And then the level of what's the word?
There's not even a good word.
It's not, because it's
like depravity.
It's depravity, but just the level of not, it like just, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm just gonna say this. The common sense, maybe that's what I was looking for. The level of common sense that was lacking. Okay. It's heartbreaking.
It's very.
How you can't use,
especially when he started off such a beautiful relationship with his daughter.
Right.
And that's how it ended.
Right. And it's manipulation, lies, because you had a beautiful relationship with your daughter, and then all of a sudden this woman comes around and then things change, and you feel like you have to go do these, like, what type of lifestyle was she trying to live and portray to where you felt like you had to go work jobs back to back to back with no sleep, no mental health, anything help? Like, what was going on with you, or just within the house that we don't know? I really
like how you did describe it as exhaustion. That could have, I would say that played a part.
Yeah,
that probably wasn't
the main thing. Yeah,
right. But yeah, lack of sleep will.
Yeah, he was mentally tired, mentally exhausted, because you're not looking at the evidence, the things that are there that are in place. I know me as a parent, and I know they say that men and women parent differently, but I know me as a parent, I'm always checking, I'm always paying attention to my children. I'm asking questions, because
and you can deal with mental exhaustion too,
right?
But you ain't sitting up here neglecting your children and not protecting them,
right? And I'm also not neglecting myself,
right?
I allow myself the space and the time to have to myself,
right,
so that I'm not so disconnected to where I can't notice changes like that. Right. You noticed your daughter losing weight, and you weren't like, hey, is something wrong with you? You feeling okay?
Wouldn't take her to the doctor.
Right, because that means that she wasn't up to date on her vaccinations. Mm-hmm. Because I'm pretty sure to Mika, I'm pretty sure Tamika wasn't taking her to the doctor, right? Because she didn't care for her. She didn't like her.
No,
she made sure her kids probably went to the doctor, but I'm pretty sure that she wasn't making appointments for Emani to go get vaccinations, go get checked out, because she knew what she was doing to her. So you doctors, they look for things when you go to physical checkups. Pediatricians look for that. They look for signs of abuse.
Right.
They ask
because they're mandated reporters.
Yes. Yes. So she wasn't doing any of that.
And he allowed that. He allowed for Emani to just be ignored, to be neglected.
Right. And because of that pride, because the time she could have on the weekends went to her grandma. Or she could have just stayed with her grandma when her grandma first
That's my thing. That's the reason why I want to punch him, is because Emani, this didn't have to happen.
It didn't. And I'm pretty sure his mother was probably like, what the heck was going on over there? Mm-hmm. I wonder if in those time gaps that she wasn't communicating with Emani, was she wondering, what's going on? Why haven't I spoken to my grandbaby? Like, I know she was talking to her son.
Right.
Probably every other day.
And she probably had thought of maybe calling CPS, but didn't want to do that to her son, like emotional conflict, you know.
But that's the thing, because it's that whole thing of snitches get stitches. It's that whole thing of being loyal, being so loyal to someone that the safety of others are at risk because you're so busy trying to be loyal and I don't want anyone to get into trouble.
Bump that.
I'm singing like a bird.
Exactly. If somebody, especially somebody who's defenseless, is suffering, I'm going to call it out.
Right. Yeah. And also another thing that comes up, was she not seeing the two younger grandchildren, because those were her grandchildren? So was she wasn't.
She wasn't, because she doesn't get along. Of course, she didn't get along with Tiffany.
Of course.
So Tiffany barely took the kids to see. Like, if she saw her other grandkids, it was because of Iman. And how often would that happen? Because he's always working.
Right. So it's just all around red flags popping up. People, you know. It's the whole mentality, well, I got to mind my business. And yeah, we should mind our business to a certain extent. But if I'm not seeing my grandchildren, like I know if I don't take my children to go see their grandparents, I'm going to get a phone call.
Right.
I'm going to get a phone call. Hey. You said they was coming over, where they at? I ain't seen them.
Right.
Even my dad this morning, hey, I need to, he all the way miles away. He all the way away from us. But hey, I need to see my grandchildren. Send me over some pics. Like he grandparents check in.
Very, very.
Grandparents check in. So this story is unfortunate. It didn't have to happen.
At all. Senseless.
People, take care of your mental health.
Yes.
Help yourself so that you can help those that are vulnerable.
He didn't put his mask on.
Right. Let go of that pride and that ego so that if you need help, you can go ask for help and not feel ashamed of asking for help.
And we're going to put some numbers in the description box if you need help in the mental and emotional area. It is very important that you take care of yourself. We have a lot going on in the world right now that is just like, it will drive anybody crazy.
Yes.
And we want you to take care of yourself. We care about you. So we'll have some resources in the description for you. We really hope that you enjoyed this episode. Rest in peace, beautiful Emani Gabrielle Moss.
Rest in peace, baby girl.
Right. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the chicken coop next week.
Kalaka.
Thank you for tuning in.